the whole way. He won't panic, and he should be too good. He's got to win this race to be a chance in the Derby. The only other chance is the filly, Northwick Plume.
Something designed, striking design, pale green, eh?
Okay, we'll go to John in a moment. There's Blevik. Blevik is the favourite in the race, still showing $1.70 on the tote. Blevik will be ridden, of course, by Mick Dittman. Mick's having a bit of a run of outs, but he gets on the right cap, he'll get it home, Gaz.
Certainly will, yes, he's a great jockey. It's interesting, this race last year, Ken, Mahogany got beaten this race because there was no pace on. Remember, they all pulled like mad.
Don't I know it, I backed him.
Yeah, well, that's right. And there's Northwood Plume. I think she's a very good filly.
Yeah, she looks the part too, as you said earlier. All the Freedman horses look muscled up. They look muscled up at any time, but they just seem to have that extra little gloss on them at this time of the year. Johnny Tapp, I like the look of both favourites here. They both certainly look the part and are well prepared.
Good on you, Ken. Yes, I agree. I had a close look at them as they went onto the track, and they've been trained to the second. Mick Dittman rides the very short price favourite Blevik. As you know, Mick has been in the doldrums in the last few months. His opportunities have dried up virtually. Mick, of course, is the first to admit that he's missed a lot of meetings, and his absenteeism means that he's lost plenty of clientele, and he's just going to have to boot home a couple of winners in reasonably prestigious races to get himself back on track. But it's still Mick Dittman we're talking about, the enforcer, one of the great post-war jockeys, and well, Ron Quinton knows better than anybody that this is a confidence business, Ron, a confidence game.
Yes, John, it is. I spoke to Mick earlier today. He's in good spirits, and he's just waiting to get on the right horse. As he said, he's had a few chances lately, but they just haven't found the line. This horse looks tremendous, Blevik. You know, I know he's short odds, but he looks magnificent, and I think that he'll be a bit too strong for the filly. But she looks great too, very fit. But I do like Blevik. He's a strong-looking horse.
Ron, when people talk about the Moonee Valley track, they tend to regard it as a saucer, you know, a really tight-turning little circuit. But it's not like that at all, is it? It's virtually a track with 3 straights.
Yes, well, it's a matter of fact, it's a type of square track because it's got 4 straights, and say a furlong and a half each straight. But it's a very well cambered track, and most horses handle it pretty well. And we relate back to Kingston Town. He won 3 Cox Plates here. He couldn't handle any other track, but Moonee Valley loved it because it's well cambered and it's a good surface track.
Good, Ron. Thanks for that. These runners are moving in fast now for the Amy Vase. We'll talk to you later, Quinto. Northwood Plume, winner of the 1,000 guineas at Caulfield last Wednesday week, carries the colours of Mannerism and Torrific. Now there's Striking Design going up on the outside to complete the line. Mick Dittman is in there on Blevik. And they're off and running in the Amy Vase. Northwood Plume looked to knuckle over when she hit the ground, got a little bit unbalanced and went straight back towards the tail of the field. Striking Design in those dazzling iridescent green colours is the early leader. But now Romanchero, a very flashy chestnut with the white feet, has pulled its way clear on the turn out of the straight, galloping boldly. Romanchero opened up a lead of nearly 3 lengths now on Striking Design, about 2.5 to Wild Thunder on the inside of Blevik. A little more than 2 lengths away then on the inside rail is the Brightonian as they start the run down past the mile pole, and Northwood Plume on the outside is last. Romanchero at the 1,400 mark is a mile in front, wants to over race, is going very fiercely, led by about 5 lengths to Striking Design. 2 lengths away Blevik, who's just lobbing along in the box seat on the outside of Wild Thunder. 1.5 lengths then to Northwood Plume, and dropping out last is Brightonian as they head to the back past the 1,000 mark, and Romanchero goes further ahead. Romanchero opens up a lead of 8 lengths on Striking Design. 1.5 to Blevik. He'll get a nice cart up behind Striking Design. Wild Thunder next on the fence, a little more than a length away. Northwood Plume, and the Brightonian is last as they race up to the top turn at the 800 mark. Romanchero clear, but starting to come back, led by about 4 to Striking Design, and Blevik's had a perfect run on the outside. Gives the impression he'll move whenever Dittman wants to move. Northwood Plume is next as they race down the side, followed by Wild Thunder and the Brightonian back at the tail of the field. Northwood Plume is out 3 and 4 deep now as they come down by the the 600 metres mark. Romanchero, the leader. Blevick is cruising into second place. Northwood Plume on the extreme outside. Striking Design under pressure, followed by Wild Thunder. To the turn, Romanchero's about to be tackled by Northwood Plume. Wide out, Blevick between them, with Dittman getting very anxious on Blevick. Blevick and Northwood Plume bumped a couple of times as they turn for home. There's nothing in it. It's the filly Northwood Plume coming at Blevick. Blevick just in front, the Enforcer throwing everything at Blevick, and Dittman's Strength will win the day as Blevick comes again after looking beaten to beat Northwood Plume about a length. A distant third is Wild Thunder, followed by Romanchero, and the last couple, the Brightonian and Striking Design. Gee, I thought he was in trouble on the turn, the favourite. He looked to be flat chap. Northwood Plume ranged up and for a stride or two looked to be going better. Oh, did you see Al Dittman when he got serious, though? No wonder they call him the Enforcer. That was the Mick Dittman of old. Blevick in Victoria is going to pay $1.70 and $1.30. Northwood Plume will pay a place dividend of $1.20, and there'll be no third tote. Gee, good to see the Dittman of old, Ken.
Yes, it sure was, John. Mick here, you'll see him pull the whip. We'll get very, very clear illustration here. He certainly gives them a whack, Gaz, doesn't he?
He certainly does. You know, he's got great hands, Mick Dittman, Ken. I was watching him getting Blevick to settle, and it was beautiful. He's you know, a perfect jockey. Used all his vigour. I thought Northwood Plume had his measure on the home corner, but it was just Mick got it stuck in, and away the colt went.
Yeah, it was a good staying performance. The fast pace set by Romanchero certainly helped Blevick, and he's going to be hard to beat in the Victoria Derby, Gary.
He certainly will. There's a good shot of them coming to the corner. You can see Northwood Plume's just got his measure here, and his Mick's starting to get to work.
Yeah, she goes up 3 deep, and that's Blevick in the centre. Romanchero dropping off inside them, and it becomes a 2-horse race from here. Dittman certainly hadn't given up because he knows this horse will keep giving. He'd won the VRC Size Produce Stakes on Blevick back in the autumn, and the horse responded to Mick's riding. One on the tail there, another one, and then he just really settles down to ride him out and make him do his best. Northwood Plume, Mick's only posing a bit now. He's home. He knows he's got Northwood Plume beaten.
It's a great run of the filly too, because she's going to run most probably in the Wakeful Stakes and then into the Oaks. So the Oaks looks like building up to a great run. Here's a great shot of them head on here.
Yeah, Mick come out just a touch on him here, but then he held his ground. Nothing serious. There'll be no worries, and Blevick just outstayed her.
And it's great to see Mick Dittman back on a good winner.
It sure is. So the placings, as John Tapp told you, were Blevick first, Northwood Plume second. There's no third dividend for Wild Thunder, and the time, which was quite sound for the class, of I've missed the time here. We've got the race record up there of 2:0.49. The time was 2 minutes and 28 hundredths of a second. I think that's a race record, Gary Willits. Yeah, it is a new record in the last 849. So a race record in the AAMI Vase to Blevick, ridden by Mick Dittman. And on that note, looking at Blevick, we'll take this break on Cox Plate Day at Moonee Valley.
Back Moonee Valley Race 2, and Blevick the favourite paid $1.70 and $1.30. Northwood Plume $1.20 and no third dividend, and then you got $5.20 and the Quinella $1.40. Okay, well, the Fashion Stakes are not confined to the member stand this afternoon. There's a new look on the track as well, and Simon O'Donnell has more.
Racing is a very complex industry, and lots of different people contribute to a horse getting to the racetrack. And people that contribute a hell of a lot are the farriers. And to tell us a little more about shoes that horses wear, similar to humans when they're having a run, or maybe a Grand Prix car, when it's wet you do change the tyres, is Mark Cummings. Mark, there's 3 pairs of shoes that are mainly used by trainers and horse people. Can you explain a little more about what they are?
Well, the first set here is the steel shoe, which is a shoe that they wear through the week. It's more durable, it is a little bit heavier. But because of the durability, the horse is able to wear these for up to a month, and that's what he wears for his normal training or early morning work and for the walking and exercise in the afternoon. On race days, we put a what you call an aluminium plate. These are a lot lighter. They're fitted a little bit neater, and they're similar to a performance athlete and a human that trains in a certain pair of shoes, and then come race day he'll put his spikes on, and that's what we wear for these.
So I suppose a way of explaining that is when you're running on the roads, you wear the shoes with the cushioning and the high maintenance, and when you go to a race, you want to put the running spikes on.
Yeah, you want the performance shoe for the performance day. On a day like today where it's going to be fairly warm, the track's going to be fairly firm, some trainers would like to use these, and these are an aluminium plate with a rubber backing. We call these a cushion foot plate. They assist horses that perhaps jar up a little bit on the harder tracks. Once again, it's horses for courses and shoes for the occasion.
Mark, thank you very much. So I suppose when you look at horses, when you put it down to base level, it's pretty common sense sort of stuff. When we go for a run, we wear the high padded shoes on the roads. When we want to go a bit quicker, we wear something a bit lighter. You know a little more now about the racing industry.
Thank you very much, Simon. I tell you what, Max, you always had trouble with those huge feet of yours getting the right shoe to fit. There you are.
I tell you what, in my day, it was just a Dunlop rubber straight for everything. Hard road, soft road, up and down, turf wicket, flat wicket, you name it.
A lot to be said for the old Volley OC. OK, right now, Ken Callender with the totes on race 3.
Yeah, thanks very much, Kenny. This is a good race, the Waterford Crystal Mile. And number 1, State Taj, is at $7.50. Number 2, Western Red at $21. Innocent King getting out a little bit. Lost form since he won that AJC Derby 18 months ago. He's out to about $40. Carson's Cash from New Zealand is in from $3.70 to $3.60. Play or Pay about $11. He's got a chance. Rancho Man, number 6, is showing $12. Just getting out of touch. Mick Dittman's riding Rancho Man. Number 7, Let's Cut Loose, is showing at $5.50. Number 8, Mr. Mutual Respect at $7. Number 9, Upwards, has got out from $16 to $18. Scardise is showing out to $11 now. Champagne Warrior at $26. And Ben's Rocket at $34. A tricky race, but I thought Upwards had a good chance, and I'm great to see showing $18 on the tote there. Gary, this horse's Sydney form is better than you think, and in the Tarak handicap, it favoured leaders and he got back a bit.
Definitely did, but I've gone for Carson's Cash, Ken. I thought his run at Caulfield was very good. He won this race last year, so he might back up. The other one I liked was State Taj. I thought he's a very good horse. He's been running at weight for age. He ran well in the Tarak, and he should be hard to beat.
Okay, thank you, Gary. Now it's time again to go to my mate, and he should be yours, Simon O'Donnell.
I'm certainly your mate, Kenny. That's 2 out of 2, mate. I think what we should do is probably get the cameras from That's Incredible there, because it's been a long time since we've picked 2 out of 2. But in the third, it is a great race, the Waterford Crystal Mile. I really think that State Taj, his form against Mahogany and his couple of runs previous to his last 2 was very, very good. I think he's a good miler. He likes this track. I think he'll do very well. I expect the return to form of Western Red. I think it's better than what it's been showing us. And Let's Cut Loose, a couple of starts back, ran very well in the Vic Health Cup. It ran second to Poetic King. I think he can find that form again and do very well today. Now, we've tipped 2 out of 2. I think it's time to give the ladies a little bit of a chance at home. I've enlisted a lovely lady. Debbie, how are you?
Very well, thank you.
Have you got a tip for us in race 3 for all those ladies watching us at home?
Number 7, Let's Cut Loose.
Let's Cut Loose. I've got half a feeling that Debbie might cut a little loose later on, and I really do hope I'm with her. It's back to you, Kenny.
Simon O'Donnell there doing his homework with half a feeling. The month of November promises to be an absolute blockbuster on Wide World of Sport.
Famous face there, Colin Hayes, a famous racing identity. The winning connections there of Blewick. Happy, no doubt indeed, winner of the race number 2 here at Moonee Valley. OK, as suggested, all the luminaries of the Melbourne Society are here at Moonee Valley this afternoon. Angela Bell McSpeeney, she is with artist Charles Billish.
Well, I don't think we'll be seeing these ladies here today, or maybe we will. I have the famous artist who painted the painting with me right now, Charles Billich. Charles, what inspires you on a day like this?
Well, it's the best parade of beautiful people and beautiful horses there is. And look at the weather, so we're really blessed, and I think it's going to be a great day. I get the opportunity to paint my favorite genre painting when I see captivating people against the background of horses. I think it's very romantic. I think it's very dynamic in a way. I think it's very sociable. I think it's a very interesting subject altogether.
Charles, the Olympics have led on to a new passion. Can you tell me something about your sculpture?
Well, it's not really, because I've been involved in sculpture for a long time. But yes, I'm not particularly known as a sculptor, and I wish to let the people know that I'm also sculpting. This is one of a series of 18 sculptures in the form of maquettes, which will be later developed, pharaonically large, about 8-9 meters high. It'll be surrounding an arena in Sydney, probably Homebush.
Charles, you capture the spirit of the horse on canvas. Do you have a tip for us today?
Well, from the top of my head, I think Jean, of course, in the Cox Plate, and good luck, I think.
Charles Village, have a fantastic day at Moonee Valley.
Thank you very much, Angela. Thank you.
Well done, Angela Bell McSweeney. Now, Charles is wearing a shirt that probably he should frame and maybe put up for sale.
There's no doubt about Charles. He's not a subdued character, but his work is very, very popular right around the world. And, of course, he has a great passion for the racing industry.
Yeah, well, we saw that in a couple of the exhibits there that he had there with Angela Bell, but as you said, very, very respected artist. But I got to tell you, he's just about taken out the fashion stakes here behind me in the BMW stand.
I'm sure there's another shirt like that. It would fit you, Kenny.
Man of many colours. Later this afternoon, you could be in the cash, plus pick up a bonus prize in our Sony Memorable Moments giveaway.
Excitement's building. We're only a couple of races away now from the Cox Plate, but what a great race coming up now. The Waterford Crystal Mile, the top class 1600 metre race for top grade horses. Number 1, State Taj, is in from $7.50 to $7. Western Red, the Kiwi, has come in too from $21 to $16. Innocent King is still around $40. Carson's Cash getting out just a little bit to $3.80. Play or Pay's way overs on the tote. He's come into $9.50 now, but he'll nosedive down to about $6 or $7 before they jump, and he's got a great chance too. He's run in Sydney in the Epsom was super. Rancho Man, Mick Dittman's Mount, one of the chances in the race. He's showing at $12. Let's Cut Loose, $5.50 out to $6. Mr. Mutual Respect still at $7. Number 9 upwards at $18. Give him strength. I've got my cash on him. Number 10 Scar Juice at $12. Campaign Warrior at $26 and Ben's Rocket at $34. As I told you earlier, for Chase, the Bart Cummings trained runner is scratching. Here's Maxie Walker.
Hey, thanks, Kenny. I'm with you. Let's hope that Upwards can do the job. OK, once again, we've got $5,000 plus.
The past weeks since the sensational run in the Caulfield Cup, how have things come up?
Yeah, he's trained on very well, Andrew. I thought it was an excellent run in the Caulfield Cup. He was perhaps a little disappointing the week before in the Caulfield Stakes, but he's trained on terrific this week. He's pulled up well, done well, worked well, and you know, I think he's got some cheeky chance in the race. I think June and Redding both been set, and they'll both be extremely hard horses to beat, but I think we're in with a cheeky chance.
So realistically, John, what are you hoping for out of the Cox Plate?
Well, I think if he runs in the first 5, I'll be extremely pleased, but you know, I mean, it's those sort of races, you just never know. You've got to be in him, at least the horse is fit and well, and you know, you just never know how a little bit of luck runs your way on the day. You know, a bit of interference or something just might help us. But he's a very genuine horse, and you know, he continues to find the line. So, as I said, I think he's got a cheeky chance.
And John, of course, you trained for the Woodland Stud Syndicate and the Inghams. How many horses exactly in work?
No, we've got about 110 in Sydney and 40 in Melbourne and about 20 in Adelaide. So we, you know, we've got quite a few horses around the place, and then we'll open Queensland later in the year. So you know, 25 up there. So I think we'll have them spread a bit, you know, Australia-wide.
Good luck with tenner.
Thanks, Andrew.
Well done, Andrew Voss. You're watching Wide World of Sports, coming to you live from Moonee Valley on BMW Cox Plate Day.
And the horses are over just exercising before the start of the Waterford Crystal Mile. It'll start at the 1600 metre barrier, a very tricky barrier, but all experienced jockeys in this race, and it should be a great contest. The movers and shakers on the tote, well, let's have another look. Number 1, State Taj, is coming a little bit more to $6.50. Number 2, Western Red, still at $16. $41 for Innocent King. Carson's Cash at $4 exactly, just eased a little bit on the tote. Play or Pay is into $8. Rancho Man at $12. Incidentally, I said earlier Mick Dittman was riding Rancho Man. Well, he was, but he's been replaced now, and Lance O'Sullivan is the new jockey for TAB number 6, Rancho Man, leading New Zealand jockey Lance O'Sullivan. Let's Cut Loose is getting out a little bit now from $6 out to $8. Mr. Mutual Respect is still showing $7. Upwards, TAB number 9, the horse I've picked here, is showing $18. Scarred Use is showing out $12 out to $14. Campaign Warrior is at $26, and number 12, Ben's Rocket, at $34. Let's Cut Loose seems to be moving up and down there. It's really around about $7. I got it out to $8, but the tote moved out, but it's come back in, possibly a tiny electrical fault. Okay, the horses are parading. There's Upwards in centre screen now. Give him strength. What about this jockey, Gaz? How does he ride? He's a former Kiwi too, isn't he?
Yeah, very good rider. I think he's been leading jockey here, won the premiership twice, Kenny, so you won't lack anything in horsemanship.
Greg Childs, that is. There's Innocent King in centre screen now. He sort of lost a bit of form, Gary, hasn't he?
Yes, I just thought how well he looked going out. I think this race would be too short for him. When they get back, that was Let's Cut Loose that just went through there. He'll run a very good race. There he is there in the background.
And what about the other horse, the horse you mentioned, Carson's Cash? Did you like the look of him?
He looked beautiful, really relaxed going out. And the other one I thought looked very well was the top weight, State Taj. Looks beautiful.
Thank you, Gary. Right, there's plenty of tactics, as I told you, for the 1,600-metre barrier. A very tricky start, but the man who knows how to handle it is Shane Dye. Here he is.
Race 3 of the day, the Waterford Crystal Mile. It helps to draw an inside barrier. It's virtually impossible to win if you draw wide and get caught wide going into the first turn, because it turns and you're always off the track. A horse called State Taj with Damien Oliver should get a good run up near the lead. The most important thing to do when you're riding in mile races is when you get to the far turn, which is 700 metres out, is to get off the fence and to go as wide as you can. It doesn't matter how wide you are, as long as you get a clear run into the straight. Then you only have 200 metres. If you can hit the front on the turn, going forward, you nearly always win.
Righto, Shane. You don't see too many Derby winners in the Waterford Crystal Mile, but we have one here in the shape of Innocent King, number 3, trained at Rose Hill in Sydney by Kerry Jordan. Ridden today by Simon Marshall because his regular jockey, Jimmy Cassidy, is riding this weekend in Singapore. Jim established a very valuable contact in Singapore a couple of weeks back, and he surprised everybody with his decision to go back there on such an important race day as this, and he would have had several good rides had he stayed at Moonee Valley. Ron Quinton's with me again. Ron, I imagine Jimmy would have been on Skywatch in the last race for one, as well as Innocent King in this.
Yes, I guess so, John, but he obviously had a commitment over there, and things were looking pretty good over that side of the country, so Jim's there, and the show goes on here.
Well, you've had a look at them. How do they come up behind the gates? What about the Sydney side of Play or Pay? Good run in the Epsom, wasn't it? Oh,
John, his run in the Epsom was super because they went a furious pace, and you know, he was naturally a sitting duck for something coming from behind, and he still ran a very, very good race. His run before that was excellent at Rose Hill. The whole thing with him is if he can get to the front or get close to the front and handle Moonee Valley. That is the big question. But you know, if he does all that, it'll be very hard to beat. Upwards looks a treat, and it's well weighted, so it could have a good chance at the weights.
Ron, I'm just changing the subject for a moment, if I may. Up on the turn into the straight, they are replacing one complete panel of running rail. Now, one of the runners in an earlier race, or maybe even while they were doing their preliminaries for this race, something has cannoned into that fence and badly buckled one complete panel. Even the down post is being replaced.
Is that right, John?
But isn't that the glory of the aluminium running rail, Ron? I mean, to be able to just slip in a new piece you know, within minutes of a race being run, not to mention the safety aspect, it just makes you wonder how we ever got away with the old, almost immovable timber running rail for so many years.
Well, that's right. The aluminium running rails are just you know, an extra safety issue for jockeys and horses and everything. So, you know, the old wooden rails, well, they wouldn't move out of the way too much, but the aluminium running rail, I remember riding Emancipation in the Cox Plate here. She nearly went through the fence, and only because it was aluminium that probably saved us both.
Ron, you rode in several Cox Plates and you won one, of course, on Kingston Town. It's a unique race. I mean, this whole place is unique. It's got an amphitheatre effect, and I believe for a jockey, even leaving the parade yard and coming through the tunnel out onto the track is a real buzz.
It's something that you don't experience on any other track in this country particularly. Everything's so close to you all the time that you get a real buzz, particularly from the crowd in the stands, and even when you're riding in a race coming down the straight at Moonee Valley, you can actually hear the crowd quite clearly. Where on any other track, really, it's out of your mind and you can't hear it. But at Moonee Valley, you can certainly hear the crowd. It's just an amazing little place.
Ron, you've been training now for some 18 months, and you're away to a flying start. You've been winning races left, right, and centre. You've got a few handy ones in the stable now. The hours are a bit different to a jockey's hours, aren't they?
Oh, John, you know, training is just a lot more time-consuming than riding, because when you're riding them, you get off them, and that's about it. But when you're training, you've got to take them home, look after them. But there's a lot more to it, a lot more paperwork, staff, owners. Yeah, it's very time-consuming, but I'm enjoying it immensely.
And as I said, you're away to a great start, and it won't be long before R. Quinton, trainer, is back at Moonee Valley with a runner in the Cox Plate. Let's hope it's next year, mate. Yeah,
certainly next year. Hopefully we'll be down here with something that can be competitive over their big carnival.
Good on you, Ronnie. Talk to you later. Now they move up. Let's Cut Loose has come into the number 1 gate for the Waterford Crystal Mile. It's a Group 3, 1,600 metres on a beautiful Melbourne day. Very much on the warm side. Scardees goes in ahead of Carson's Cash, Upwards, Campaign Warrior. Mr. Mutual Respect, State Tars, Western Red, winner of a Canterbury Guineas in Sydney back in the autumn. Play or Pay, trained at Berry on the New South Wales South Coast, has moved up ahead of Rancho Man, and that looks to be it. Starters ready for them, and they're away in the Waterford Crystal Mile. Western Red went straight back to the tail of the field. Let's Cut Loose from the inside, bounded right out in front of Scardees, and State Taj is away quickly from a wide gate. Rancho Man is gathering speed fast, wide out. Play or Pay coming over with him. Just behind those in the run to the first turn is Campaign Warrior, followed by Carson's Cash, and then Upwards. A fair way back, Mr. Mutual Respect, as they swing into the back straight, and Western Red and Ben's Rocket together at the tail of the field. Innocent King's in front of about 4. To the back they go to the 1,000 mark. Rancho Man had to work a bit to get to the front. He's a length clear of State Taj now. Running third, Let's Cut Loose on the inside of Play or Pay. A bit more than a length to Scardees on the outside of Campaign Warrior. Innocent King is travelling 3 and 4 deep, followed by Carson's Cash. Then Mr. Mutual Respect on the outside of Upwards, followed by Ben's Rocket, and back at the tail is Western Red. To the 800 mark now, and they're about to come up to the big poplar trees, and Rancho Man with the inside running is just the leader. Now State Taj on the outside is in hot pursuit, and we get a great ground shot there as they thunder past the camera. State Taj on the outside takes a narrow lead over Rancho Man. Play or Pay under pressure, followed by Let's Cut Loose. Innocent King is about 5 deep, working into the race as they come around the corner. Carson's Cash looking for a run. He's got nowhere to go at the moment. 200 metres out, State Taj kicked. He's a length and a half in front of Let's Cut Loose. Play or Pay. Now there's a split coming for Carson's Cash. Innocent King further out, but the top weight, State Taj, holding them all at bay, and State Taj wins the Waterford. I think Play or Pay will just get second. Heap of them there for third. Innocent King is close up with with Let's Cut Loose. Western Red and Upwards not too far away, followed by Scardees, Campaign Warrior, Mr. Mutual Respect. Well back in the field is Ben's Rocket, and the early leader Rancho Man has weakened out of it to finish at the tail of the field. State Taj, who looked very well graded in the race. $5.40 and $2. $5.40 and $2, ridden by the jockey of the moment, certainly the jockey of the Spring Carnival so far, Damien Oliver. Now, I think Play or Pay will get second, number 5. Will pay a place dividend of $2.60, but I'm not so sure about third. There was a heap of them there. Innocent King was there. Struth, I just can't bring them all to mind. Let's Cut Loose was close up. Carson's Cash wasn't too far away. But Ken, that horse has been racing in much higher grade, really.
Yes, John, but what a performance of Innocent King. He's back. Take nothing away from State Charge, but 1,600 metres is too short for Innocent King. What a run he turned in. Wide for the last part of the race. There's the winner, State Charge. As John told you, beautifully ridden by Damien Oliver, and we're just waiting on second and third to be official. I don't think there's any doubt Play or Pays run second. Gary, Too Good the winner.
He was. Well, he's been racing at weight for age, and he's been running into really good horses. He ran a good race in the Toorak. Back in this race today, beautifully ridden by Damien Oliver. Here he's just taking the lead here. And I thought Carson